Well, today's a big day. After months of waiting, the day for the Supreme Court ruling on President Obama's health care plan is coming down. It's the biggest legal battle yet for the White House.
But it's not the first. The administration has been taken to court many times already, and as Heather Sells reports, it's often come out on the losing end.
Every year, American school children learn about the three branches of government and how the Constitution sets up checks and balances so that no one branch will become too powerful. But this year, there's been unusual tension between the executive and judicial branch. In April, the president went so far as to warn the court not to rule against Obamacare.
Ultimately, I'm confident that the Supreme Court will not take what would be an unprecedented, extraordinary step of overturning a law that was passed by a strong majority of a democratically elected Congress.
Although the Arizona ruling could be considered a partial Obama win, the court has clearly smacked down the executive branch in a string of cases this year. It's a trend that is drawing attention from both the left and the right. Liberal scholar Adam Winkler calls it the anti-Obama court. Normally, he says, when the Solicitor General argues for the federal government in front of the court, he wins nearly 70% of the time. But this year, the court has ruled against the Obama administration more than half the time. Justices rejected Obama's positions on several important cases, like one dealing with law enforcement tracking cars by GPS, and another that sought to limit the rights of religious groups to hire and fire employees. The court also rejected Obama's position on an EPA case. It centered around the agency threatening to fine a couple that wanted to build on their property after the EPA declared it a wetland.
That government's here to serve us, and they're not. They're coming into people's life, turning it upside down, and making it to where you can't fight back.
The court's ruling on health care could help determine just where this trend is going and how long it will last. Heather Sells, CBN News.
Well, this particular edition of the 700 Club, we don't have the ruling yet. The ruling of the Supreme Court will come down. But later on, Jay Sekulow is going to join us for a special report on the Supreme Court's health care decision later today on the 700 Club and stations around the country, and tonight at 11 p.m. on the ABC Family Channel. And we'll have another look tomorrow.
That's right. Lee Webb's going to take us in with the news right now.
Okay, well, let's go with Lee and see what you got.
Well, let's take a look at the other big stories of today. European leaders are hoping that economic growth can help them get out of their debt crisis. The leaders began a summit today to sign off on measures aimed at strengthening their economies. Investors are hoping for a breakthrough at the summit. They believe Europe has not taken strong enough action to ease the crisis, and markets fear Europe's problems could hurt the world economy, including the U.S. But so far, no resolution appears to be on the horizon. A heat wave is baking much of the U.S. More than 1,000 high-temperature records were broken in the last week alone, and more are expected.
Fans running, the ceiling fan and the box fan, and then a little fan on my dresser. And I got some cubes of ice, you put it to a towel and try to stay cool like that.
Climate experts say records aren't broken usually until July and August. The heat is mostly in the central and western U.S. right now, but forecasters expected to hit the East Coast by the weekend. It's going to be hot.
I'm sure that Al Gore and those who are concerned about climate warming are heartened by these statistics, but it sure has been hot. It's been lovely here for a few days. We've been so grateful as the temperatures have cooled down, and then, boy, it's the scorching has come in. But our hearts reaches out to people in Phoenix and those in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and especially those in Colorado Springs. Lee?
Yeah, Patty, it's those extreme hot and dry conditions out there that are helping fuel the wildfires raging in the West. The flames have forced tens of thousands from their homes in and around Colorado Springs. Army troops have been called in to help firefighters protect the U.S. Air Force Academy. Meanwhile, churches and other organizations are doing what they can to help. Charlene Israel has more.
This is an active fire. It's not even remotely close to being contained.
The Waldo Canyon fire continues to menace Colorado Springs. High winds carrying embers into neighborhoods and setting homes on fire. More than 30,000 residents have been forced to evacuate. Most were given just 5 minutes to grab what they could and get out.
And we saw fire actually coming down the road.
Showers of ash fell from the sky as drivers looking to escape were gridlocked in traffic.
You see the smoke flowing and the ashes falling. It was pretty scary. I wasn't panicked, but I was scared.
You couldn't see the sun anymore, ash falling out. It's the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Meanwhile, ministries in the region are helping evacuees. On our CBN Newswatch program, we spoke with Focus on the Family spokesperson Carrie Kentz. Focus on the Family is located in Colorado Springs and is helping those who've lost their homes.
Just watching the way the Colorado Springs community has really come around evacuees, come around firefighters, really exhibiting what Jesus commands us to do, to love our neighbor as ourselves, whether it's volunteering at a food bank or donating thousands upon hundreds of thousands of pounds of food and water. It's just been a huge blessing to watch this community rally around its own and make sure that people are taken care of and have places to stay.
Right now, damages are estimated at $30 million, but the total is expected to go much higher. Charlene Israel, CBN News.
Yeah, Pat, as you know, the Navigators Ministry is also based in Colorado Springs, and I understand from one of the representatives of that organization that they had to move in to Focus on the Family's building just to escape some of the danger there.
Well, they have the Navigators are a group that did the follow-up for the Billy Graham Crusades for a long time, and they have a lovely retreat at a place called Glen Erie, and that one is threatened by the blaze. And on top of that, of course, the Air Force Academy. So we're looking at some serious damage, and it's just horrible to see a beautiful home that people have invested their hopes and dreams in and all the things they have inside, and it's consumed by flame. Lee?
The Food and Drug Administration has approved the first new prescription drug in 13 years for long-term weight loss. It's called Belviq and made by Arena Pharmaceuticals. The drug acts on a chemical pathway in the brain to help people feel like they're full. Many weight loss drugs have been tied to health problems, especially fen-phen, but the FDA states that Belviq appears to work on a different part of the brain. The drug does have some side effects, including depression, migraine, headaches, and memory lapses, but studies have shown Belviq leads to modest weight loss, Pat.
I wouldn't touch it, ladies and gentlemen. I wouldn't touch it. Any drug that says it's going to work on your brain and then leads to depression, who needs that?
Well, and for modest weight loss,
yeah.
I mean, when they specify that, you know, it's not the answer.
I don't have any appetite. I see these things. My appetite, and I have an incredible breakfast.
Well, you balance your blood sugar probably, huh?
Almonds, pecans, walnuts.
Do you still do oatmeal?
Oatmeal, oat bran, and then a blend of berries, all kinds of rich antioxidant berries, a little bit of milk and a little bit of maple syrup. And when I get through that, I don't want food.
That's your meal for the day.
I don't need some crazy drug that affects my brain. That affects my stomach and says, don't eat anymore. I'm not hungry.
A group of Indonesian Christians is facing deportation from the U.S. The 9 immigrants say they fled their home country because of persecution by Muslim extremists. Indonesia has the largest Muslim population in the world, and there's a history of violence against Christians there. The believers hope new federal legislation will let them renew their bids for asylum. 4 of them have children who are U.S. citizens. The immigrants are taking refuge in the Reformed Church of Highland Park, New Jersey. Pro-life pregnancy centers in Maryland do not have to post disclaimers. A federal appeals court ruled in favor of the Greater Baltimore Center for Pregnancy Concerns, the Archbishop of Baltimore, and a Roman Catholic church. It struck down 2 ordinances that required pregnancy counseling centers to post signs indicating that they do not provide abortions or birth control. Archbishop William Lori says, at a time when religious freedom is being challenged on many fronts, this ruling represents a major victory for the First Amendment. You can always get the latest from CBN News by going to our website at cbnnews.com.